What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the CEC podcast.
I'm Walker Cheatham. You can. No, we're not doing that yet.
No,
I'm so not used to this yet.
No, this is a very different show than what we're used to doing here on this channel here. It's going to be more laid back. We're not going to be really talking about movies or upcoming movies or movies we've seen. We're going to just kind of talk about us.
Yeah, this is not so much a news show right now. This is just us.
This is nostalgic about the first 29 episodes of this show.
Yep.
I was a headache the whole way.
Yeah.
But as a headache, I wouldn't have any other way.
Yeah. Well, just I guess we're gonna start since we're talking. This is the very first episode of this, so we're really we thought it would be a good idea just to talk about how this all started.
Mm-hmm.
How we've
the story of
got to where we are right now, which is not very far, but it's far compared.
It's further than anyone else in our same position would have even dared to go.
Probably.
Because there's probably a lot of people out there right now that wants to do like something like we're doing.
Yeah.
But doesn't want to go out there until they get ready, and in the process of getting ready, they're never going to do it.
Absolutely.
The best way to do it is just he came the story of this is pretty funny. He hurt his ankle doing his day job, and then I get a text message from him talking about, "Hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel. Want to be my co-host?" I'm like, "How soon are you talking?" He's like, "How soon could you come over?" Yeah. That's pretty much how it went, right?
Yeah, because I mean, we started this August last year.
We started working towards it in August.
Oh yeah, we started working towards this in maybe July of last year.
It's like July of last year, and then our first episode we wanted to time it in time for its release, which we actually was able to do.
Yeah, that was
surprisingly
really
enough. that was fun. But the first episode is kind of like very special to me because it was like, no matter what happens, I made a YouTube video.
Yes.
I think I would never do that because if you know me in my personal life, I'm kind of a shy, quiet, keep to myself kind of guy.
Me too.
Yeah, we're both kind of shy, quiet guys. So us in front of bright lights, microphones, and camera, that's kind of like weird for us.
Yeah.
And then so now we're here, and it's like, it's happening. We're in this ecosystem called YouTube now.
Yeah.
We're just looking to get the financial parts of the ecosystem, but for right now, we're actually a part of this ecosystem. Our voices and things are being heard on, and there are people who are interested in what we have to say.
Yes. I know this was something that I've been wanting to do for years, as far as just starting a YouTube channel specifically to discuss movies. And I know just because of the people that were getting involved, that I said maybe we can try and try other things too, like with Geek Champs, which like if you've been here from the beginning, this whole channel was just called Movie Champs. EJ's was he had a channel called Geek Champs, and my brother Zach had Horror Champs. But like I said, we all have day jobs, and
then YouTube changed
they changed their whole way of monetizing and just
thanks for that, Mr. Paul.
Well, that was one of the factors.
That was one of the factors, but there was a major deciding factor.
Yeah, but in either way, we decided to go ahead and just try to merge the channels together because of the lack of availability that we all kind of have. To try to focus on different styles of video film.
Channel.
So I said, well, we'll change the name of the channel, and then whenever things become more available, we just have more time to focus on those other styles of projects. Yeah, we'll put them in as they come, and then should we ever be able to become more independent of that, they can start their own channels. So
we'll probably split them back up after a certain point, or keep it together. Yeah, or just give more focus to them as brands.
Yeah, because I figured I said as far as a brand goes, it would be better that we have one channel right now until we actually have the availability and the possibility, or the ways of making our own brands. I said it would just look bad to have sporadic videos on one channel.
Have like a video a week on one channel, and then a video every like few months on another. It wouldn't have worked. But us concentrating our efforts on one channel, even if it's just the one show, we're still making content every week.
Yes.
I do want to do some Let's Plays and whatnot. My style of Let's Play I want to do is something he may not agree with me on, but I think it would be cool for the show. There's a YouTube channel out there called the Super Beard Bros. I've showed him some of their videos before, and I like their Let's Play style. There's no camera in the corner or nothing. It's just all focused on the gameplay with their comments and storytellings and whatnot over top, and it's very well done because it's just like it replicates the friends at home sitting on the couch mechanic of gaming. They do a lot of single player games, but the way their banter with each other works, it feels like a multiplayer experience.
Right.
Like he's sitting there looking things up online, trying to help his friend clear certain obstacles in the game, even though it's a one-player game. It creates that friend on the couch, no, you're doing it wrong, without being like coming off as condescending or yeah. I want to do some things like that for the channel.
Yeah, and Zach, obviously, he's a huge fan of horror production. Not so much of the horror movies, but he likes the behind the scenes type of stuff as far as how it's produced, how special effects are made, how the makeup and stuff is done. That's the kind of stuff he wanted to do. So that's why we had the Horror Champs brand when we started out. And like I said, he's got a history of horror, like haunted houses and stuff, and stage production and things like that. So he wanted to do a channel to do that kind of stuff with, but he's got a daughter, a 1-year-old daughter, and a full-time job and stuff like that. So it's really hard for him to be able to focus on a channel with that kind of time. So that's why I told him, like I said, whenever he finally is able to start working on stuff like that and just producing videos and things like that, and can get into a system or a groove, we'll just upload to this channel. That's why, like I said, that's why we became just the Champs Entertainment channel. So that way we do plan on making different styles of content, but right now we're focusing more on the movie stuff until we're able to focus our efforts on other styles of entertainment. We've been trying out different things like reaction videos and things like that, which actually have been our biggest hits as of recent.
Thank you to everyone out there who's watching all our reaction videos, especially that Avengers Infinity War one. Yes. Over 2,000 views on that one. Want to say thank you to everyone who helped us get our in-review over 2,000 views. Yes. We got a couple small successes. Yeah.
It's funny to think of 2,000 as a success, but for us, for the views that we normally get, that is a success.
That's a massive success. And so I just want to say thank you to all the people who subscribe, pop into our chat, Night Hippie Chick, Judge Jonathan Through. I want to say thanks to all of you for popping into our chat every now and again, saying hi, checking on the show and all this and all like that. So thank you to them.
And just to go back to how this channel started and stuff, it started out first as a website. TheMovieChampShow.com, which is no longer. I actually shut that down recently.
Oh, you shut it down? Okay.
Yeah,
we just got some BIOS to update then.
Yeah, I had to shut it down because we weren't. It's so hard to focus on a website and a YouTube channel at the same time when you actually have things.
We actually have to have somebody to do all that. Yeah, and he can't do it all by himself. I try to help out when I can, but.
Yeah, it's really hard to stay up to date and find relevant things whenever you do slip.
To peel the curtain back a bit, I suck at Photoshop, so
I'm okay at Photoshop.
He's better at it than me, so he makes all the thumbnails and everything, all the pictures you see during the show. He makes all that kind of stuff. So I try to help him when I can. When I for the event MCU phase videos we've been doing here lately. Which part 3 is coming soon. Yeah, you can probably expect it sometime next weekend. Sometime next week after.
Maybe, yeah.
as a nice little chaser to a certain movie review.
Yeah, but they know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, no need to. I just wanted to be mysterious.
And in case you guys are watching or listening to this on a podcast from the past, we're talking about Infinity War.
Yeah, we're talking about Infinity War.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I just have background in video production. I do a lot of event productions and live streaming for church stuff that I do, and that's one of the reasons why I knew. I said, well, I know how to do the live streaming stuff. But my biggest setback over the last 20 something episodes though was just an internet connection issue that we seem to have had fixed. Now we're I have to look into it again because the last two episodes we've had some
major drop-offs in internet connections.
Yeah, which is weird. So I'm gonna go figure out what that is, and then hopefully that will be solved. But yeah, there's always some hiccups starting out. It's not you don't see a lot of YouTubers starting out with the live streaming. That may be a setback, or I don't know. I've always wanted our shows to feel interactive. That's why I always wanted it to be a live show, because it just feels like there's just more people in the room that way. So
now you can actually, there's a question, or we say something, we can get an instant response.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for the comment section, and hopefully A, we read it, and B, we reply to it on next week's show.
Yeah.
We get it during the show. We can answer it during the show.
Yes. So that's why I've always wanted to do it that way. I always felt like it would be just a little bit more comfortable. I'm not a personable person, but I like to perform in front of crowds. So that's why I like to do things loud.
Oxymorons right there.
Well, no, that's the funny thing, because I'm a musician and a singer. So I always say I can go stand on a stage and sing in front of thousands of people and not feel anything. It's whenever I get off the stage and have to start shaking hands and talking to people that's going to scare the crap out of me.
Kind of like when we went to Hampton Comic-Con.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have seen that, guys. That was I was like, I'm so ready for this.
I was the mouthpiece for the group.
Yeah, I couldn't talk to anybody. I was
the one handing out cards and speaking to people and bringing attention to the site and to the channel while we were there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I did finally get my movie champ shirt, so there was that day.
Yeah, that was it. We've been trying to get more new shirts made.
Yeah.
From more in-house stuff done, but that's we're having some technical difficulties with that one, apparently, with the printers that we ordered. It's surprised. It's crazy because you have, for a real good printer. I want to go through this subject very quickly. So to get a printer to do that kind of stuff on is extremely expensive, way overpriced. The minimum for a printer to do the t-shirts and stuff is like $400 for a decent one, and we found one for like $175, almost $200 altogether, and it's supposed to work and it's not. So I don't know what the problem is.
Okay.
So that's it. I don't want to go too much into that.
Okay. All right.
So but anyways, to go back, like I said, to go back to the beginning of when this all started, as a website, I actually, like I said, I was buying all this stuff to do this. I said, I know how to do all this with just some web cameras, some $20 mics, and some photography lights that I had. I said, I know how to do all this. So that's kind of how we all started. We tried different things. We tried multi-camera setups with multiple webcams. And we said, you know what, just one
nice steady cam is enough.
Yeah, one steady cam was enough. We don't need to be jumping around just yet until we have a full-on studio with more people involved here.
Yeah, and an audience we can cut to.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if we had 4 people, there would be 2 cameras.
You can just get them all in shot. Yeah,
yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and I try to teach my brother how to do some of the production stuff, and he's some learned it, but he's way too busy and with the parenting stuff and work stuff to focus on that.
we want to give him hell for not being here all the time, but when you have a kid, especially a kid as young as he has, you can't.
Nope.
You just can't.
Nope.
You just have to sit there and be like,
yeah.
We can be salty as salty as a pretzel, and we can't say nothing because he's a dad.
Yeah. And
he has real things to deal with.
And since we've been doing this show, I think this is his second or third job. Yes, his third job. Second job. Second job since we've been doing the show. So he's moved up to a new job that's just, it's better for his career and for benefits and things like that. Better for a father to have this kind of job. So I mean, like I said, it's so hard. It's hard to be able to focus on things like such as a channel like this when you have responsibilities and stuff like that.
Yes, it is.
With that being said, though, we've been fortunate enough to be able to have a program that there's the technology is available to where we can do all this with just the two of us.
Yes.
We set up the cameras, we set up the mics and stuff, and then for the most part, we just hit start. And there's a couple slides I changed to, or a couple scene changes that we do for.
And we talk to you.
Graphic purposes, and then we talk to you guys. So that's always been, like I said, this has always really been what I wanted for this show to be. It's for us to talk to you guys and talk, just have a conversation about things that we're passionate about, movies and TV shows and music, gaming. Yeah. Gaming. I like to talk about music and things like that. Those are all my, besides movies, music is my other passion. So it's fun. I listen to a little bit of everything. R.I.P. Avicii. I've never really cared for EDM music until I listened to Avicii. He did a song called "Hey Brother," which with one of my favorite bluegrass country artists, which is Dan Tyminski. I just saw the name Tyminski and Avicii. It's like wow. I was like, I know who Dan Tyminski is. Is that the same guy? And then I listened to the song "Hey Brother" and I was like, oh my god, that's Dan Tyminski. And he's singing over this electric dance song. And I said, this sounds is such a unique sound, and it works. It was amazing. I said, it was so creative. And then I listened to "Wake Me Up," and I listened to the whole song, whole album. And I said, this guy is amazing. I said, this is such an interesting style of music. I said, I haven't listened to any other EDM music, but Avicii was somebody that I was appreciated. He had a unique sound. He had a good ear for music. Especially for like pulling somebody like Dan Tyminski, who not a lot of people knew outside of the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" soundtrack. And even he, I heard a podcast that he did where he was talking about how that song happened. He said his manager said, there's a guy named Avicii. He's like, have you ever heard of EDM? And he said, no. He said, then whenever he explained what EDM was, he's like, tell him no. And then they sent him the song, and he listened to the song, and he said, this song sounds like he heard us like the acoustic version of the song. He said, this sounds like something I would sing. So he said, okay, fine, I'll do this. When he told his daughter, he said, you know who Avicii is? He said, tell him yes now. Because apparently the daughter knew who Avicii was.
Sometimes you gotta listen to the kids. Your kids know things.
Yeah, so her daughter talked him into it, and he recorded the track, and he loved it, and it inspired what he's Dan Tyminski's newest album, which was Southern Gothic, which was it had a mix of his style of country and bluegrass, with also had some of that EDM style to it, which made for an excellent album. And Avicii inspired that from him, and he, from what I've heard from other people like Aloe Black and stuff like that, he inspired them to try different styles of music. And he was an inspiration to not only the people that he worked with, but to the people that listened to his music. And that says a lot about somebody with such a short career.
Yeah.
He made, I think, as far as what I know of, he made two full albums, and he had a couple EPs and singles that he released every once in a while. So, I mean, like I said, I loved both albums, and I liked all the songs that I've heard from him. So, like I said, he was a very, very talented person, and it's sad to see something like that go. But I'm looking forward to seeing more from the people that he worked with, seeing what his work was able to
carrying on with that style.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that anybody that would ever from art, that appreciates art or appreciates music, I think can stand behind that kind of person, and that's all you can ask from your career, is that you inspire people through your work. And I think that's what he did, and I think he should be proud. I think his family should be proud of what he did, and that's pretty awesome. But I guess moving on from that, like I said, that's why I like talking about music. Yeah, I can talk about things like that for music. I can talk about things like that for movies. That's what I've always wanted from this channel. Let's see. But the other thing that I like about this channel is that it gives me the not only the opportunity, but the drive to see things that I probably wouldn't care to see any other way.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
I know. We joke about this that for some reason you always get the short straw on the quality of the movies that we review.
Yeah, I always seem to see the really bad ones.
Yeah,
like he saw Daddy's Home 2, and what else that was bad?
I saw Daddy's Home 2. I can't remember what the other one was, but you saw Boo, Medea Halloween 2.
Yeah.
What else?
Flatliners.
You saw Flatliners. I didn't get to see Flatliners, thankfully.
Lucky. I say lucky, but he dodged that movie like a bullet. Let's see what else. Because one cool thing about the
we have a backlog of everything.
No, not so much a backlog. The history.
Oh, the history. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can just look back and say I saw this, and let's see.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like about the movie pass. That actually came out with their $10 or $9.95 or whatever it is. Their special right around the time our channel was starting.
Yeah, so it came just at the right time for me because I was like, yeah, I'm all in, but then I thought about it. I gotta pay for these movies. I'm gonna be doing a lot of just referring to him.
Yeah.
but then, like, it was really funny. Like a couple of weeks after he sent me that message about becoming a host on a movie review show, they dropped the price to $10, and I waded through it and stood in. I went to the website, dealt with the crashes, dealt with the repeated crashes, and all this and all like that. The funny story about my movie pass. I signed up and I got it and set it up and everything, and I'm waiting for my card, and I'm waiting for my card. It's getting ready to come out, and I'm still waiting for my card. So it releases. I have to pay for it out of my pocket. So I go see it. I enjoyed it. 2 days later, my movie pass comes in the mail. Just in time for the Golden Circle.
I don't know.
That is the first movie I ever used on my movie pass.
Interesting enough, there's some movies on here that I don't remember having a movie pass whenever I went and saw. Like Green Inferno. I don't remember having a movie. So apparently I think this linked to my old movie pass. But I definitely did not go see Robin Hood in theater, so I don't know where that came from. I think there was a bug somewhere on here. But
well, you probably saw it and don't remember.
I don't remember ever seeing it at all, like on home or in theaters, but that's weird. Especially since MoviePass wasn't out when Robin Hood came out. So maybe it was
it probably was. You remember back in the earlier days of MoviePass, it was a tiered program. Maybe.
But yeah, as far as the crummy movies I saw what the heck is it called? This is the Matt Damon movie from last year where he shrunk.
Oh, Downsizing.
Downsizing. I saw Downsizing, which I thought was bad. I don't know. I dodged more bullets than I guess you did.
Yeah. I took a few good shots.
But I saw Jigsaw, and I don't know. I've seen quite a few movies. This isn't that important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go out and see more movies, which is all I ever want to do. So this is more of an excuse, I'd say, to go see more movies.
Yeah.
Than I would normally.
Between the bad ankle and the movie pass, this is like his dream right now. I don't have to go nowhere but just watch movies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, it all works for me.
Yeah.
I got to actually have an excuse to go see movies now.
Well, when I was, as far as the ankle thing goes, just since the end of January, have I been just kind of out of work. So from when we started in August to that point in January, I was working, but I was not seeing as many movies as I am now. So thankfully we were still able to see movies, but I was like really pushing it, trying to work and then go. I'd specifically just go on a Thursday night and then maybe on a Friday night, depending on when we were doing the show. Because before we were mostly trying to do the show on Fridays, and now we're okay with doing it on a Saturday night, which is fine with me for the time being.
Until things change for one or both of us.
Yeah. So, but the one thing that we do hope to do for this channel is to have more voices here. we want to have some more, I guess, different, more people here.
Mm-hmm.
It also is like to do some interviews, I guess, or just to have, even if it's just to have some people call into the show.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of want to include that eventually. Because I know a few people that I'd love to have on the show that just wouldn't be able to come here, but would love to have just a phone-in interview for the show, which would be kind of cool. But
just hear their voices geek out over it.
Yeah.
Like they're calling us.
Well, not necessarily famous people, but I know just some people that are similar to us that have similar interests that I know would be great to include in the show. Yeah, I would definitely love to have some famous, just two semi-famous people, just some industry people on the show. We did have a couple people that were interested in the beginning that just we never, as far as just communication, just never fell through, I guess. Because we had a lot of people that even it was interesting to see have people submit their resumes and stuff to be included in the show. I thought that was kind of neat. I was like, dang, I said, this is legit now.
People want to be in on this.
Yeah.
They want to be in on the ground floor.
And there was a guy at the beginning that was that works in the film industry. He's an actor and stuff that wanted to be included, but he had some commitments that he had to commit to that prevented him from starting out with us, which is kind of it's fine. But it was also I was just glad that it worked out for the two of us, because if it was just me, this channel would never have lasted. It wouldn't have gotten past day one.
Yeah, because there were videos.
Yeah, there's some videos
he did
out
by
there.
himself, and that's why there's only two by himself.
Yeah. I'm curious if I could still if I've gotten comfortable enough to do this yet by myself, but I don't. I have no confidence in myself to do that.
I think it would be better if you just did those like
as recordings instead of live videos,
and not so much as live videos, but as recordings with the camera off of you.
Yeah,
just stills on the screen.
Yeah, I cannot sit in front of a camera and see myself and try to do this. That's why the camera that what I'm looking at now is the camera that's 3 feet away from me. So I'm not on a computer monitor where I'm trying to stay focused on a computer monitor and do the work and stuff.
Yeah.
It's I think I'd be a little bit more comfortable with that. Not because it's by myself. We did the one because I said, if you can't be here, we'll try to do it over a webcam.
Yeah.
With the two of us, which we did pretty well with that one.
Yeah.
Besides some internet problems that we're having at that time.
Salt Bay reminds me of that day.
Yeah.
When I just randomly did this for the end of the video.
Yeah.
Like somehow I was doing something and my eyes froze. So I looked like I was giving you 15 minutes of Salt Bay.
Yeah.
Someone should add some sprinkling salt in post on that one.
Yeah.
But as far as my side of things goes, as we say before, I'm the geek guy. I deal with all things comic book gaming and all that. And like I said, I want to do Let's Plays and whatnot, and then it's all kind of things like that. And I have a few games in mind that I want to do, and it is just a matter of me just getting one or two things together. And if he's cool with it, I would like to do one here.
What's that? Like now or when? What are you talking about?
Maybe one day next week, because there's a Steam game I want to play called, I might have said this name to you like thousands and thousands of times before, Super Cyborg.
Oh yeah, okay.
I want to bring up my Steam account on your computer, put the game on your computer. It's not a big game. It's not like graphic intensive or nothing.
Right.
It's modeled after side-scrolling shooters on the NES and Super Nintendo, so it's not graphics heavy or anything, but it has a really good soundtrack, and it's hard.
Okay.
So I would think it would be fun for you to watch me struggle with that game.
Okay.
So I'll have it on that TV up there or something, and we just have like a banner on the side or something.
That sounds cool.
And then we just talking while I'm playing, you know?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to make that happen next week. That sounds really neat.
And it doesn't have to be live.
Right.
You could just we just record it and then upload it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something I've always wanted to do, like have gameplay, and then later on this in May, sometime in May, early June, something, the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection is coming out, and I want to practice at some of the particular Street Fighter they have online on that thing, so then I can actually have like a series inspired by like another YouTuber named Maximilian, who he like posts videos of like online matches he does, where he comments over top of them, and then he just posts videos of the entire match, and he moves on to the next match.
Yeah,
I kind of want to do something like that, but I got to get good at video editing so I could cut out the downtime in the lobbies while you're waiting for the next match to start.
Yeah. See, that's one of the reasons why I wanted him on this show, because I know that there's a huge market for video games that I would never be able to tap into. Just for you. That's why I wanted you, not only because you're a great commentator, but because you're really much into that, and I would never be able to do that. I could do all the research in the world and never be able to just catch up on all the stuff that I'm not caught up on. I couldn't even fake it. That would be one of those things where real gamers would be able to smell me out.
Like he's reading. Yeah. He's definitely. He's sitting up there like.
Yeah, I could. They know. People know how to do that. I could.
It happens.
I can do the same thing with people with movies. I can smell out somebody that I know legitimately doesn't know their stuff, and I know that gamers are way more keen to that than I am with people with movies. So
yeah, so I would know. I
wouldn't even try it.
I'm not like the most knowledgeable guy in all these things, but I know a lot.
Yeah, because it's the one thing is the whole it's an expensive hobby to be a real legitimate gamer.
Yeah, and that's why I do a lot of old school gaming.
Yeah, yeah, it's cheaper that way.
Because it's cheaper that way. You can find ways to get the older games a lot easier than the new ones.
Yeah, I was talking to a girl at GameStop earlier this week, and she was just like schooling me. I was trying to hold my own in that conversation, and I could not. I failed. Trying to spit a little game, I guess you would call it. I don't even use slang right.
No.
What is it?
You really don't.
She was talking to me about God of War, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I played the first two, and I was trying to sound like, just to even call back to the little bit I remembered from playing the first two.
I can see you at GameStop trying to think back.
Yeah.
Now, what happened in that game?
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank here. I can't remember anything.
Yep.
And meanwhile, I'll be like, oh, I thought the way God of War opened was cool. You're at GNC on a boat.
Yeah.
Creatures crawling out of the bottom of the boat. And you got to fight all these creatures off. Like, it is like, one thing I always did enjoy about the God of War games. I wonder if this new one does the same thing. When you first started God of War, you hit game start. Oh, we're not going to baby you into this. No. If you want to get to the rest of this game, you got to survive this. Like, squares, you have your light attacks, triangles, you heavy attacks. These triggers, modify them. Survive. And you're like, all right, let me just learn this. And then if I die, oh well, I got to get good.
Yeah. What really that just was the nail in the coffin of that conversation was that I couldn't even remember the name of the main character in the game.
You forget Kratos.
See? I can recognize the face, but not the name.
Man. How did you forget him?
See? Thankfully, the conversation went okay. I was honest, at the very least honest at the fact that I'm not a gamer. But
on a grade, she gave you a C and walked away. He's like, he doesn't know much, but I won't destroy him today.
Oh man, that's what you get when you go into a GameStop just to look for pops, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not here for gaming. I'm here for pops.
Yeah,
that's what you go to thinkgeek.com for.
Yeah,
you just get your pops from there.
Oh, no, it takes all the fun out of pop hunting.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't do much pop. I don't really go pop hunting, so I don't just.
I only was more shopping around for Zach, because Zach is the pop collector here. I have a very small collection. If you would even call it a collection, if you can call 3 pops a collection, then that's what I've got.
Yeah, it's more than one.
Yeah, so I normally, since I have a little bit more free time than him, I go out for him to the stores and say, hey, this store has that pop, and then we'll go out and go get it later on.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
You find the pops.
I'm the pop headhunter.
You're the Boba Fett of pops.
Yes.
Your pop is located at the GameStop on Mercury Boulevard.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, that's what I do. But anyways, it's been interesting to see how, because I've always watched YouTube and stuff and tried to study, but you really can't really get into it until you really are uploading your own videos and creating your own content to where you actually understand how the whole system works, how the algorithm, how to play the algorithm, and stuff like that, which I'm not an expert at all yet. I am still upset whenever I see that we only get like 5 or 6 views on a video that we worked our butts off for. But it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's still learning. We're still learning. It's always learning.
Look at it this way: we're like running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
Even if it's 1 yard, it's still a yard.
Yeah. So
even if we're fighting for that 1 yard, but we didn't lose anything. We gained. You know? So that's 5 people who saw what we had to say today.
Mm-hmm. So, but whenever we do like the reaction videos or something like that, those tend to do pretty well. I don't know what's with the algorithm with that, but that's just how it works. When we do a reaction video, we tend to at least get between 50 to obviously 2,000 views. So, that's kind of why we just try different things to see what to try to hop on maybe a new trend, but also do it in our own style and stay original and try not to rip anybody off in the process.
Yeah, be ourselves.
Yeah.
That we just try to be ourselves when we do this show. That's why we're sitting back, laid back, talking like we are now, because this is who we are.
Yeah, so we kind of there's not a lot of. I mean, we try to discuss not discuss. We don't go into depths about the topics that we discussed prior to the show.
Yeah,
because we still want it to be
fresh for y'all too.
Yeah,
we don't want it to come off as like, ooh, that's a good talking point. Bring it up on the show.
Yeah,
no, we want it to be like we bring it up and we talk about it as the cameras run, so it'll be fresh, real, and off the cuff.
Yeah, I try to keep it as organic as possible as far as where the conversation goes, what we talk about. We know before we do the Movie Champ show, we know the topics we're going to discuss, but we don't try to talk too much about it. Like he didn't know when we did this show today, he didn't know my thoughts on Super Troopers 2 or I Feel Pretty until we were doing the show.
Talking about it right then and there.
Yeah, so I don't usually know anything about his ideas about him or his thoughts on a movie. So we want to get each other's reactions and to see, you can see how somebody reacted to a movie that maybe we both saw or neither of us saw. So that's the fun part. I like to do it that way, and I like the stream of consciousness style of how we discuss things. It helps me to stay to talk better, I guess. Sometimes I think I've gotten better at talking just from being able to
because you
go over topics this way.
Because if you go back, because I have to admit I don't watch any video of me.
Me neither. I don't.
Partially because I don't like the sound of my own voice. It sounds too high for a guy my size.
Mine is way higher than I used to give myself credit for. Too.
Our voices sound our voice sounds all deep and everything, and you get in there like, "Hi guys, who's this dude?"
Yeah.
Whose voice is this coming out of this body? Not mine.
Yeah. And because like you mentioned earlier, Jonathan, he's a friend of mine that I see on a regular basis, and he'll tell me he watches our more than I do. He's actually texted me like seconds after I uploaded something and said, "Dude, you're missing audio here. You forgot to do." Like he'll tell me if I mess something up, and I'll try to take it down as quickly as possible. But he's mentioned to me already that he said, like, dude, you were so nervous and sweaty last. I like how honest he is with me about that kind of stuff. Like, dude, you sounded so nervous, especially when I did this episode by myself. He told me like, dude, you sounded so nervous yesterday. It was kind of, it's funny. I like.
You can laugh at it now.
Yeah, I can laugh. I mean, I laughed at it. Then I try not to take myself too seriously. Is the thing.
Yeah,
that's why whenever we do get some hate comments every once in a while, I was like, they don't affect us.
Border off a duck's back.
Yeah. it's like if this was me at 15 or 16, that would have been devastating though.
Oh, no doubt. Teenage years are very informative on the person you become.
Yeah.
So at 15, 16, yeah, that would have probably hurt. But at almost 30, or in my case, 31, 32,
yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, we've been through enough.
Yeah. Life has knocked us down enough for us to know. Is that all you got?
What's funny, because you and I we used to work together at Kmart over a decade ago, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. That location is gone now.
Yeah, we used to work at Kmart together, and Kmart customers are pretty brutal. Oh. And that kind of stuff. That was one of the biggest throw me out to the wolves that you can possibly do for a person that's as shy and don't like
shy, kind of introverted.
Yeah.
Work retail. If you're shy and introverted, work retail. You'll come out of that pretty. You'll keep it up when you'll be a little more open. But you won't. But at the same time, you're more guarded, but you're more open at the same time because you've had someone strip you away before in a way that you've never been stripped away before. And then you go, "I'm still here."
Yes.
I'm still here, and I'm gotta get over it.
Yeah.
I got 3 more hours of this.
Yeah. But then I've worked several more retail jobs. Retail jobs since then that have also helped increase this ability to talk to people, I guess. But I mean, like I said, I think the best thing for me whenever we were working at Kmart was when they moved me to electronics, because at least I can learn to talk to people in my comfort zone.
Yeah, I think that helped me too.
Yeah,
because the fact that if you working in something you're not familiar with, you go,
yeah,
I don't know what any of this is.
Yes.
like if you're in the houseware section, do you know where these? They would say, do you know where the mandolins are? No, what's a mandolin? And then you go home and watch Food Network. Oh, that's a mandolin.
Yeah.
I know where those are.
As a musician, a mandolin would have a totally different meaning for me.
Like mandolin.
Like a string guitar.
Those here.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean,
you gotta check Guitar Center for those.
We wouldn't. I don't know. I can't talk too much about, I guess, what we did at Kmart as far as where I was placed at before. I worked the jewelry counter before in Kmart for a couple times. Did that ever happen to you at that Kmart?
I've done jewelry before.
You've done jewelry? Totally. I have no idea. I don't know what the difference between. I don't know what a carat is. I don't know. I have an idea. I have the general idea of what a carat is, but not looking at something, I can't tell you what a carat is.
Like, I'm looking at. I just say, do you know where your sterling silver is? And I look in the cabinet. 85% of it's silver. Yeah. I don't know what
sterling is.
I don't know what any of this is.
Like white gold. I don't know, guys. Seriously, what are you working behind here? I was like, you don't ask me that.
Help.
Yeah.
You're reaching for imaginary help buttons that are not there.
That's not there.
It's not there. You're on your own.
Yeah. So, we used to think that Walmart employees had it lucky, but I don't know that they actually did or not. I don't know if they actually did or not. No. But
because at least we were left alone for good stretches of the day too.
Yeah.
We were able to decompress.
Yeah. Yeah, you learn different ways of handling stress depending on any job you do. You find if you're a person with a healthy mind, you find ways of releasing that stress in different ways. And mine's always just been to go, like, when I get out of here, I can't wait to go see a movie. That's usually how it is for me.
When I was in high school, my mind was way different. Grand Theft Auto 3 was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, let me finish. The way I would de-stress, I'm not you hear me say Grand Theft Auto 3, so, you just went around killing people. No. I cut on 4 codes. Max health, max health, max armor, all weapons, And no, it was 5 codes: max health, max armor, all weapons. All the people have weapons. All the crowd, all the townspeople.
Yeah. And
then the final one.
What?
Everyone hates you. And then they'd be like, okay.
That sounds like Black Friday at Kmart.
How long can I survive this? It pretty much recreates the Purge, but you're the target.
Yeah.
And you know what's really fun about that? You're sitting in like the city, like mowing the people are running at you down, and then you always get killed by like a random car just like taking you off on the side every time. It was really fun.
Grand Theft Auto 3 was the last one for the PlayStation 2, right?
No.
First one for the Xbox 360?
No.
What is it?
You really don't know gaming, dude.
I don't.
The Grand Theft Auto 3 was the first one for PS2.
First one for PS2. Okay. So that's the one. That's the one.
You had Vice City, then San Andreas, and the next Grand Theft Auto 4 was the first one for Xbox 360.
Okay, so I was mentioning that because I'm trying to remember which one. You were the one that actually sold me my first Grand Theft Auto game, which was Grand Theft Auto 4 then, for the Xbox 360. Because I bought my first Xbox 360 with my first paycheck from Kmart. I went straight to GameStop because that was my first job ever, was Kmart. So my first paycheck, I went and got myself an Xbox 360.
Yeah. Funny story about his Xbox 360. He was one of the few people on planet Earth with the HD DVD attachment.
Yes. Yes, I was.
It came with King Kong.
Yes. Yeah, I ended up selling it on eBay several years later for like $250. The whole collection, though. I sold the HD DVD player and all my collection of HD DVDs for $250.
Yeah, I saw an HD DVD at Goodwill the other day, and my mom didn't know what it was.
Really?
I had to explain to her what HD DVD was. I'm like,
oh man,
this is the format they thought was going to take Blu-ray slot.
Yeah. But yeah, we had.
I think the reason why HD DVD failed, they used burgundy cases.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was plus Blu-rays were coming out, and everybody was getting more people were buying PlayStation 3s starting out.
Yeah.
Xbox 360 became, I believe, sold more and lasted longer than PlayStation 3 did.
Yeah,
especially because they didn't change their model as much as PlayStation 3 did. PlayStation 3 released a Slim and all that stuff. Where Xbox 360 kept their whole thing the whole time. They kept it the same thing.
Yeah, the PS3 when it first came out, they had different configurations. Some had different levels of storage and all this and all like that. And Xbox was like, we have the arcade, which is your base model Xbox. It doesn't come with the hard drive. You got to buy memory cards for it. Oh, by the way, remember when memory cards were the game system?
Yeah, but also the other thing that Blu-ray had the upper hand with, especially that it was already in the PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
you didn't have to attach something
to your Xbox to make it work.
Yep, and then this Blu-ray just also had the upper hand with just having better distribution, better studios, better movie selection. There's an industry out there that I won't say because we try to keep this video PG. Yeah.
But they pretty much decide the tide on what format wins. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, it was either VHS or Betamax.
Yep.
That particular industry picked VHS.
Yep.
Then they did it again with DVDs, and then they did it again with Blu-rays. Mm-hmm. So they changed the tide.
Yeah.
It's very weird how that works.
So the reason why 4K is working so well right now is because I think it's completely got to do with the Xbox One, especially the One S, because the original Xbox One does not have 4K capabilities, so Xbox One S does.
Yes. And the Xbox One X.
Yeah, Xbox One X, and I don't think PS4 does 4K Blu-rays yet.
No, not even the Pro does 4K Blu-rays yet.
That's really weird. But I mean, that's just it's not on PlayStation to do that. It's something else that's completely outside of that.
Yeah, and they might be saving it for the PS5.
Yeah. So, but either way, now that Disney's on board with the 4K Blu-rays, it might be an indication that it's here to stay.
Yeah.
And it's definitely you can definitely tell the difference because 4K's televisions are so much more accessible now. That was another thing that made it hard for HD DVDs and even Blu-rays to become an industry standard. It's because TVs were expensive.
Yeah. I want to see these pretty pictures, but these TVs are like $2,000 for a 32-inch.
My first HD TV was a Samsung TV that I bought at Sears with my Kmart discount for $500. $500 for a 19-inch TV. And now you can buy a 19-inch TV for $70.
I remember when the TV I currently use in my bedroom right now is a 20-inch each TV.
A 20 what?
6.
Okay.
And I got it for $100.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, and that was and I was like, I remember when these little flat screens came in. I'm like, it's how much?
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, is that cheap?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's working in the electronics department. You see technology change right before you.
Yeah, I worked at a Best Buy, but it wasn't. I'm comfortable selling computers, but I really wanted to be in the home entertainment section. Mm-hmm. That's where I really wanted to work at when I was working at Best Buy. Mm-hmm. But I learned so much about computers from doing that, because they that's one thing I give Best Buy credit for. They always have training. There's always something you can train on, and they always had. I went to one of my first, like, I don't know what you call it. It was like it was like a special event for HP. I went to they took us to a cinema cafe. They had like a buffet of food and stuff, and they were giving away those HP tablets that they used to that they were trying to sell at one time. And it was kind of cool. You just get to interact with all these different brands and stuff, and learn about their differences, which is kind of cool. I thought that was pretty fun. So just the kind of background and stuff that you can have will, I don't know, strengthen your stuff. I don't think I would be able to do even the show had I not worked at Best Buy and learned about the different things that you can do on a computer. Because I thought I was good at computers before, because I used to, just because I thought I was like, oh, I learned how to switch out a CD drive with a Blu-ray drive, and that's turns out that's like not it. The basics. I learned the basics.
Now you got to learn advanced computing.
Yeah, I learned what processors for. I learned what RAM, all that. I didn't know any of that prior to working at Best Buy.
Cool.
So, but also, I mean, that wasn't the first time I worked at Advanced Auto, knowing nothing about cars, and that's the one I'm so glad I actually worked there and got to work around mechanics, and now I can do basic mechanics on my car just from working at that job.
Nice.
So that was I had a connection there. I knew it was a friend of mine's aunt, or not aunt, his stepsister was working there and got me the job, and I knew nothing about cars, so they're like, well, okay, we'll just have you work in the back. But eventually I got comfortable enough to work at the front counter and was able to sell stuff, and I was like, oh, good. I was just working on these mechanics. I was able to learn basic mechanics and can actually do work on my car now, which is nice. So there's a good and bad thing about working in something that you're not completely comfortable in. I can't really talk about my most recent job yet, but we'll one day we'll talk about my most recent job. Yeah. that one's completely out of my element.
Yeah. I could tell, years ago, do you remember a company called West?
Yes. Oh yeah, the call center. My mom worked at West.
Everybody had somebody who worked at West.
Yep, my mom worked at West.
West was a interesting little thing. I do not regret working there, but at the same time, it was like, well, that was a thing I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my first time working like as a person that was to answer calls was at I worked at Pizza Hut, and I was taking calls. I hate taking calls.
Oh yeah.
And I did actually. I worked at West at home when I was living in Tennessee. I did West at home and was working as a customer service rep for Toys R Us. That was a nightmare. I absolutely hated having people call me at home to do that for the few hours I was doing that job per day. I absolutely hate talking to people on the phone. So that was the nightmare job for me. And West's their software that they had, I had to downgrade my computer. I had to go get a Windows XP computer and use their really out of date at-home software.
That black screen with the green lettering.
Yes,
and all
I absolutely hated it.
But he had to,
It was so buggy, and then the screens would black out or freeze up on me because I had to go to a pawn shop to go buy an XP computer, and it wasn't like the most powerful one there. Yeah, that was a nightmare job for me. I was like, I'm doing my best here. The software doesn't work.
Drive there because there were days. listen to this. There were days when you would go, you would sit there. This is before I had my own car, so I had to get dropped off. So a half hour goes by. It's because you sit in the call center and it's quiet for a call center. Mm-hmm. They get a phone call. They hang up the phone. And we had like these little paper tents that you had to put on your computer. Mm-hmm. You wrote your time and schedule and all this on it.
Yeah.
And then they would come by and snatch it. Mandatory ET. You know what that meant? Go home.
Really? Oh, because it's just not busy?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I've had jobs like that.
Could you imagine driving all the way up there, getting dropped off, and then half hour later having to call you around and tell them, well, they sent me home.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. Or the other one is you would get there, you would check your schedule, and they just ET'd you before you even got there. well, no, come on out. So because like I learned to check it from home.
Yeah.
And like one day the Spectrum computer they had set up had it glitched out and it wasn't like the full screen it usually was. Mm-hmm. And I saw what the web address was.
Yeah.
So all I did was like when I needed to check the Spectrum, I would type it in on the computer, pull it up, put my numbers in, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not working today anymore." And I would come home and be like, "Hey," because this was back when I was in high school. Like, "Hey, mm-hmm. I don't have to go to work today, so whatever."
Yeah. Well, my where was I going with this conversation? I quit West after about a month. I worked there as a seasonal worker. I started out.
I quit the farm fresh I lived by like after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I got a funny story about that.
What's that?
I'm working the farm fresh. I'm working it. And then every time I needed help with something, no one would come help me. Mm-mm. So then I'm like, or they would tell somebody to do something and they don't do it. So then at the end of the night, it's just me and one other person, right? Mm-hmm. So I wound up doing all the things no one else did throughout the night.
Really? That stinks.
Cleaning bathrooms, gathering carts, that sort of stuff.
Man.
And the reason why I stopped, it was that same night, I had to go get carts. Somehow, some way that I still haven't figured out to this day, somehow one of our baskets got all the way down there by Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh.
And I had to go get it.
Oh gosh, that's gotta walk.
After midnight.
No, that's creepy. That's too scary.
Yeah. So.
I already know people have been shot in that parking lot for a fact. I've had people that I know have been shot in that parking lot.
So after that night, I said, I ain't doing it no more. I'm done. That was like the day. That was a straw that broke the camel's back. They just left me to do all this.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Well, so I've had two jobs. One where I didn't make it to day one because of I was like, when I was living in Tennessee, I was trying to get out of my Pizza Hut job and try to get a full-time job, and I got a job at or I got hired anyway at the Nissan factory, and I was also going to school full-time in the morning. So I told them during the hiring process, I said I said sure I can work this job. It's like, but I have to be able to take their overnight shift. And it's like, sure, that's fine. I was like, okay. So they hired me for the overnight shift, and then I get a call when I get my schedule. I was like, show up at 8 a.m. I was like, I told you guys during the hiring process I can't show up. I was like, yeah, but you got to do a month of training before you can work that overnight shift, and the training's only in the morning time. So I didn't make it to day one on that job. And then yeah. And then after I got laid off from my my train conductor job, I went.
You were a train conductor?
I was a train conductor for 2 years.
This is my first time hearing this. You were a train conductor.
I was a train conductor at a oil refinery. Just an in-yard train conductor. I didn't go like outside the yard, but still I was moving trains inside of a rail yard for 2 years.
How many times were you tempted to play the Thomas the Tank Engine song?
Never.
So,
But I after I got laid off from that job, I was for the job that I just with my most recent job. There's a very long hiring process there. So I wanted to try to find a job because I own a house. So I wanted to make sure I can pay my mortgage. So I took a job that just to fill that gap for how long it was going to be till I can start my most recent job to fill that gap, like I said. And I worked for that guy. It was a sign company. Like they do printing and signage and stuff like that there. So as soon as I was working there, I explained to that guy I worked there for about a little less than 2 weeks, but I explained to the guy, I said, I can only do this job for this period of time. And then once this other job tells me I can start, then I need to leave this job. And once that guy knew that, he's like, okay, well then how about this? How about I just call you whenever I need you? I was like, okay, that sounds fine.
Never called
me back after that.
Yes.
Like, okay. It's like, dang. So, but I had heard that guy they actually had somebody from the unemployment office call me, and they wanted to just let us know why they're laying so many people off over here. Like this place just has a really high turnover rate for some reason. Because they just have people that keep having to go to the unemployment office and file for unemployment because of them firing people. So I was like, well, they did that to me now. So yeah, that was probably my shortest job.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate. I knew when I was working there, I was like, this is not a job I'm ever going to want to do for full time, cutting business cards and just working at a printer for 8 hours a day. It's not my kind of business.
So hey, guys, you want to see us do this more frequently and all this and all like that? Let us know.
Yeah.
This has been easy to do.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
We're just talking about ourselves, and pretty soon we're gonna be relaunching and revamping our Patreon.
Yes.
We're gonna revamp it. Maybe we even record exclusive videos for it.
Yep. And also be on the lookout because I found out today that we are able to do this show on Spotify. As far as just we have the ability to, as far as how long it's actually going to take till it shows up on Spotify is a different thing. So be on the lookout for this show on Spotify. I'll announce it on my Instagram whenever it's finally available. But this is one of the things we wanted to try to make sure we started this podcast now that we have the ability to actually do Spotify, because that's been something I've been trying to do for a long time. I was like, I want to get the show on Spotify, but they have such weird standards. Now I guess they've changed their standards for getting their shows onto there.
Either they changed or lowered them. Either way we're in.
Either way we're in. So like I said, we meet the standard now, as far as I know. And we'll be on there soon, hopefully. Even if it means uploading some older episodes just to meet whatever may be a different standard than nothing. Because I know some places you have to have like a 3-episode minimum. So I might have to end up uploading 3 older episodes. I'll just maybe pick 3 of my favorites.
Plus this. Or what you just do is you just take the audio from all the movie review, all
that's
the
what I meant.
shows,
yeah,
and just put them up there one at a time.
Yeah,
start from the beginning.
Yeah, I might do that. I just know some of them are crummy.
They're crummy, but look at it as like an evolution.
Yeah, because we finally figured out the audio problems we've been having recently, which is cool.
Yeah, we've grown and learned as this thing's gone on.
Yeah,
like before, I would just stare at him majority of the time when we're doing the show. Now I've learned that if I want to talk to people at home, I gotta look at the camera like I am now.
Yes.
Because theoretically, that's you back there. So I have to. If I want to talk to you, I have to look at you. Yeah. I have to learn it instead of just sitting there like, well, what do I do with my eyes? It was a growing process for all parties involved, but like even now, I'm still trying to figure out this mic thing. Yeah. But next week was the big 3-0.
Yep, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be exciting.
It'll be a big show.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to actually to, I don't know, format that show a different way. Not completely different, but just to format it in a nice and polished way, because I know we might be getting some good traffic in that time.
Oh yeah, so we want to put our best foot forward.
Or either way, or it might just be a drop in a big old bucket, which either way, I want it to be a nice episode. So make sure you check it out, guys.
Check it out anyway.
Yeah, but yeah,
tell your friends about us.
Yeah. Tell your friends. That's another good way if you want to help this show grow. Is if you guys don't know about this, there's just a running contest that we have. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're going to pick one of our subscribers to win
the entire Pennywise It lineup.
Yeah,
Pops.
And the way that the pace is going now, we might get there by It Chapter 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you guys can help us out and we'll get there sooner. But yeah, we're giving away the entire collection of the Pennywise pops. So if you're a pop collector, that's a good collection to have. It's very
6 pops right there.
Yeah, so be
on the lookout for that.
Be on the lookout for that, and because some people have asked, because for some reason it's gained some new legs this week. So some people are still asking, it's like that giveaway is still going on, and it's like yeah. And then some people said when does this giveaway end? I was like, when we reach 1,000. He's like that's I said we've done some giveaways that have led up to nothing. So we want this one to be something that actually leads up to something. Yeah. And that's actually helped us gain a couple hundred subscribers since we've done it.
Yes.
So it's not fake. So we want to make sure you guys know that this is still going on.
Yeah, we still have all the pops here. We want to give them away.
Yeah, so maybe we just need to make sure we keep that more consistent. And I just didn't want to be redundant. We have a pretty good following on the Instagram, which is why I thought was enough.
What we need to do is probably make up a graphic. Is that the road to 1,000?
Oh yeah.
And we just show where we are now.
Yeah, that problem is that every time we always go up. I don't know what's going on with the follow count.
We go up and then we go down.
Yeah, we go up and go down. It's like, why are we going down? It's like I don't go and unsubscribe to people. I've got a lot of people that I follow or subscribe to on YouTube. Very rarely do I unsubscribe. Yeah. So I don't know what people are doing, subscribing and then unsubscribing, or what's going on with the count. But it fluctuates between 3 to 4 subscribers every week, whether it's going up or going down. So it's kind of annoying because we've been sitting right around 370 for the last couple months.
Yeah,
which kind of sucks.
And we want to grow past that number.
Yeah, if we can go past 380.
Yeah, we can just get to 400.
Yeah.
We're just like 30 some odd subscribers away.
Yeah.
Help us get to 400, and then we can talk about 1,000 later.
Yeah. So yeah, we just been taking it every week, every episode at a time, I guess.
Every episode is just another start.
Yeah. So maybe by the time we get to 1,000, I mean, I feel like I'm getting more comfortable behind this mic. I'm not nervous at all, seemingly anymore. So the blanks and some of the pauses and some of the hesitations are natural to me. So
it actually feels like pauses and thought instead of oh crap.
Yeah. Because I am the worst. I have the worst memory. I'm a face and no name guy. I know people's faces, but I don't know their names.
Yeah, like I know you. What's your name?
Yeah.
And then you don't want to come across as that guy like. Wait, who are you?
Yeah. Well, did I ever tell you about the guy? There was this when I was working at Best Buy. There was a guy that came by and talked to me. He talked to me like he knew me. I was like, I had no idea who he was just from the time we were having a conversation.
I have no idea.
And then I finally had the courage to tell him. I was like, "Who are you again?" He's like, "I was your boss. He was the manager of the electronics in Kmart for a short period of time." Do you remember who I'm talking about? While I was working there, like in the 2008 time, there was a man that was like manager of electronics for a little while. He was like for literally probably a month. He was the manager of electronics. But yeah, he talked to me while I was working at Best Buy, and I was like, oh, okay. So it took me till that. No, I thought that was kind of funny.
Okay. I don't remember him. He said he was only there a month.
Yeah, he was. They very rarely had a manager of a department.
I don't want to say too much now because I remember I'm trying to get back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'll let you do.
I'm trying not to. I'm not bashing anything.
Yeah.
I'm talking about specific people.
Yeah.
Not at the company as itself. Because like I said, I would have probably gone back. I tried to go back to Kmart for a little while, a while ago when I was working like 3 part-time jobs at one time. It was funny because when I was working at an IMAX theater. I was working nights there, and then I was working Best Buy in the morning. So I was I had to be at Best Buy at like 7:30 some mornings, and I worked there till 4:00, and then I had to be at the IMAX at 4:30. And those in 2 different cities. So I had to go from Newport News to Hampton. If you know how that's laid out, that's 10-15 miles, I think. 10-15 mile drive. So it's not that bad, but in interstate traffic, it's pretty crappy, especially at that time of day.
All right, dude, we have an interstate here called I-64.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
They've been working on it since I've been alive.
Yeah. So especially if you're going, or if anybody drives anywhere at between 3:30 and 6 o'clock, maybe.
You ain't getting nowhere.
Yeah, you're not getting anywhere.
You're getting nowhere really slowly.
So I learned all the good shortcuts, I guess, if you can call them shortcuts, but ways to get around the interstate from that job. Because there's no real shortcuts around here anymore.
No.
There's always construction going on in Hampton and in Newport News.
In Virginia.
Yeah, in Virginia in general.
Yeah, VDOT.
Yeah, we can talk trash about them. I don't work for them.
No, I don't work for VDOT neither. The potholes, man. Y'all need to fix those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, not talking about trash about Kmart, but their parking lot. I remember there used to be a really bad pothole in the Kmart parking lot at one of the entrances. I learned quickly never to go through there anymore because when I first started out at Kmart, this was the week I got my driver's license. So I actually was able to drive my first day of work on my first week of having my driver's license, which was kind of fun. But I went through an entrance that had a very, very bad pothole in my low riding Lincoln Town Car and bottomed out really bad.
I can just imagine.
Yeah.
The scraping noise it made.
Yeah. You remember the Lincoln Town Car.
Oh, yeah. It was nice.
It was a nice
big car.
Yeah, it was a big one. And it had really good engine for that for a little while it did. Yeah. That one got run to the ground. Actually, Zach, I handed that car down to Zach, and he sold it to one of his coworkers for like $300, I think. I don't remember how much he sold it for, but the dude fixed it. He fixed it up really nice too. So I saw a picture of it. I was like, dude, that's the Lincoln Town Car now? I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, he did a good job. So he flipped that car in the best sort of way, which is pretty neat. So I'm glad it went to somebody.
It went to somebody who put time and effort into it.
Yeah, because I did not have the abilities or the funding to do that.
No.
I maybe could have done something to it now, but at that time I know I did not have that kind of money going on. That was during... Well, I was still laid off, so
yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, we gotta at least trade this thing in." And I got no, because I didn't. It was the day I got my the car I'm driving now. I'm not gonna say what it is. So.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, it was some interesting stuff. We had some pretty. This is an interesting episode to talk about our career history. In a way.
Yeah, the rise of the champs.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call this one.
Yeah, the rise of the champs. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's to assume that this channel has risen to something is the only thing. It's risen from the nothingness. Yeah, from the nothingness to
where we are now. So it's just gonna grow from here.
Yeah.
Cause think about it. Until we did this, was there a channel?
No, there was not a channel.
So we rose from nothingness to this.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It may not be where you want to be, but it's risen out of the depths to what it is now.
Yeah, it's good. It's a fair assessment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to think optimistic, man.
Yeah, that's my problem. I'm not an optimist.
Yeah,
there are some things I'm optimistic about, but for the most, I've grown more pessimistic, I guess. As the days of
I try to not turn into a pessimist because it's too easy.
Yeah,
it's easy to see the bad things in life.
Yeah, but And in some ways, I'm a masochist if you think about my love life.
I don't want to think about that at all. I'm gonna have a nightmare now. Thanks for that image.
No, not in that sort of way. Not in that sort of way. It's just the amount of abuse I'm willing to take sometimes. If you call it not abuse. That's just it was the amount of crap I'm willing to take sometimes, I guess.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it abuse. I'm not that bad. Mm-hmm. Or not that. I don't think of it that way, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Abuse is too strong of a word.
Too strong of a word. I will just call it crap.
Okay.
Some emotional crap that I'm willing to take sometimes.
Oh, the emotional crap. That's the hard crap. That's
the heart crap. Yes.
Yeah.
That might be another episode though.
Oh yeah. See, I haven't dealt with that yet. So
yeah. Oh gosh, dude, I've taken. Do you remember I don't remember if I told you this. My first week that I started at Kmart, like I said, was my first job. One of the reasons I got that job was because I had an out of town girlfriend, and I was trying to just have the money to drive back and forth from there. And she doesn't watch the show, so no, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna say her name, but
I'm like, is she still in the no?
I won't give out too many of the details in case she does ever watch this episode. But it was it was kind of crummy because it was. So I started in August of 2007. Mm-hmm. Was when I started there. So last time I'd seen her was in person was in May, and my nephew was born in June. So it was when my nephew was born in June. June 13th was when my nephew was born. So on that day that I found out my nephew was born, I called her to tell her my nephew was born. And I had found out that she ran away and got married to some dude she met online. I called her house and talked to her dad, and he was like so apologetic about my situation.
Like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
She's married now.
Yeah, she ran away and got married to somebody. He didn't even know who the guy was. He assumed that when she told him that she was getting married to somebody, that was going to be me. Like, I'm 16 years old. I ain't getting married to anybody. Because she was older than me. She had just turned 18.
Okay.
So she was a little.
She was cradle robbing.
Yeah. But yeah, that was. So I was like, fine, I was still gonna get a job though. So I took the job at Kmart and worked there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So this show wouldn't have happened had that situation not occurred.
Yeah, had that not happened, you never would have went to Kmart, never would have met me.
Yep.
You wouldn't be here now.
Yeah, it's you were the big reason why I started going to midnight showings whenever they were a thing. Mm-hmm. Because I remember the one time you and I went to go see, I think Watchmen was the first one we went and saw.
I still remember that Watchmen screening because I was an idiot that night.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
I had an opportunity to take my hoodie off before the movie started. And I didn't take it. Y'all know how long Watchmen is.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in that theater sweating like a madman.
Yeah.
Because I have a hoodie on in a movie theater in the middle of springtime.
Yeah.
Because here's one thing about Virginia weather you need to know. We don't exactly have seasons here. No. It just either gets hot or cold.
Yeah.
Like right now, we're in a weird flux period where it was warm in the day and cold at night.
Yeah.
Like right now, I got my coat next to me because it's going to be cold when I get out of here.
Oh, actually, just to follow up, that's why I was remembering August. Because the week I started on that job, that girl that got married called me. And she had already gotten a divorce. So from June to August. Yeah.
So we call it a divorce or an annulment.
It was a divorce. Yeah, I don't think you can get an annulment. But yeah, she had already gotten a divorce by then. Wow. Because she called, like I said, she called me the night. It was because it was the day I got my Xbox 360. Because I got the text from her.
Can't talk, man. Grab that photo.
Yeah. I got the text from her while I was at GameStop. Like
Would it be in that old one more like, can't talk, man. Grab that photo.
Yeah.
Flip phone.
Yep. So that's why the job part was significant, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. That's fun. It's funny now, but it was devastating.
Oh,
the 16-year-old me in that time in June.
Yeah. I can imagine, my friend.
Oh,
I can
man.
imagine.
Yeah. Oh gosh, but yeah, that's not even the craziest thing to happen. But like I said, we'll talk about some of that other stuff another time.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah, because that's not even that. Just I don't know. I got such a strange history when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Next week, the many relationships of.
Yeah.
And with that.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Let's go ahead and wrap this up now. Yeah. You know what would be funny, that if we did like a clickbaity title, like my girlfriend left and ran away, got married, or something like that.
My girl left me and my girl eloped without me.
Yeah. I don't know.
We did a clickbaity for next week. Yeah, that would be funny.
Oh gosh. Okay, but anyways, yeah, you're right. We do need to go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and throw our names back up here for the guys that are watching the video version of this.
Yes.
That's my name is Walker Cheatham. You can find me on my social medias at Walker Cheatham, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Same here with me. You can find me on all the social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, GeekJamCJ.
Yep. So, and guys, those of you that are listening to our podcast, thank you for listening to our podcast. And you guys, hope that you catch us next week.
And throw it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll go ahead and throw up our end card for you guys that are not watching our YouTube channel.
You can check out some of our other movie reviews and things over here, our reactions and all that over here.
Yep.
Come down here, click the subscribe button.
Yep.
Like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the bell if you want to be notified when we go live.
Yep. All right, guys, and we will see you next time.
Peace.